What is up, YouTube? This is Gear Driven. Can you join me on a Harley Davidson Street 500? This is their sort of most learner approved bike. Well, it is learner approved here in New Zealand and Australia. It's their LAMS offering because it falls under the 150 kilowatts per ton power to weight ratio. It's a 500cc V-twin, single overhead cam, but it has 4 valves, and that's a lot of technology for Harley Davidson, and it's proving to be pretty bloody good, actually. It's not, it's not blowing the pants off me or anything like that. It's not, well, it's a cruiser. It's not a fast bike. It's not meant to be fast. It's not meant to be a corner carving road warrior machine, whatever you want to call it. It's just a really nice learner level bike. What can I say about it? It looks pretty good, I must say. I do really enjoy the look of it, although I'm not entirely sold on the front end. I don't know, it's too thin or something. I'm not entirely sure. There's just something a bit weird about it. But that's really my only criticism in terms of the looks. I think it's got this beautiful back end, which looks almost cafe racerish. Almost, not quite. Definitely looks very good. What are the power specs? I think it's something like that. Harley Davidson are annoying and don't actually tell you the power of one of their bikes. Hello, cows. They only say it's got torque, which you'd kind of hope it does. I have no idea where I am too. But yeah, so apparently it's got about 30 kilowatts, which I think is roughly 45-ish horsepower. I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's 30 horsepower and less kilowatts. I'm not sure. This is just based on what I've seen on the internet. But it does have about 14 newton meters of torque, which is plenty, really. It's fine for a cruiser of this sort of class. I was doing some testing just before. 0 to 100 happens in roughly 8 to 9 seconds. The fastest I got indicated was 8.3, but it's well enough for what it needs to do. And what it needs to do is give people on their learners and restricted license access to the Harley Davidson badge. And it does that. I mean, it's 11 grand brand new, but you can find examples on Trade Me second hand for less than 10 easily, often around the 8 mark. Being a cruiser, it has this fantastic turning circle. It's funny because although this bike is definitely not a big Harley, it doesn't have anywhere near that sort of road presence or sound, the classic Harley potato sound of just a massive engine blowing up in between 2 wheels. It doesn't have that. I mean, you can hear it. It's really, really quiet. This is completely stock. Yeah, being a Harley Davidson though, there are access to a heap of aftermarket stuff, like new pipes and different seats and different handlebars and all that sort of stuff. You can go on their website and have a look. So it's very easy to make this thing sound like a big boy, like one of the new Milwaukee 8s, I'd imagine. Actually, Milwaukee. I don't really know how to say it. I do apologize. Those engines are meant to be just fantastic, and this is the Revolution X engine. So it's powering the Street 500 and the 750. It's water cooled, and like I said before, it's got 4 valves. So it's also extremely smooth. If I didn't know better, I'd say this is actually Japanese. That's how smooth it is. Take it on the motorway. It's not a bike. No, actually, I was going to say it's not a bike that you really want to thrash, but you do want to thrash it because it's fairly revvy for a V-twin. On the dial there, it's got my gears. Oh yeah, and you can really stack it over. I mean, shit. Apparently the lean angle is 28.5 degrees or something like that. And I assume that means until the foot pegs touch the ground. And that must have been, well, it felt very close. It probably didn't look very close. But the greatest thing being a cruiser is that it's just so happy doing this. And given that a lot of people learning to ride, and a lot of people after, like when they've got their full and stuff, all they're going to be doing is this, for the most part, is commuting in traffic like this. I mean, of course there'll be the odd, Sunday afternoon where you go out with your mates and thrash the canyons, but this is going to be most of it. It's very much have a good time, enjoy the road, enjoy the bike. Oh, it's so bloody windy. And something that I really like about this bike in particular is that the needle in the speedo, when you get to 100, it points straight ahead. There we go. It's also pleasing because the revs are at 4,000 exactly at 100 k's, so that's nice. Another great thing is this rear brake is amazing on this. I'm used to sports bikes with a rear disc about that big. It's stupid little tiny things, but this is a massive thing. It's a huge disc and it stops so nicely. And I was told that it's because cruisers tend to have a 50-50 weight distribution, 50 on the front, 50% of the weight on the front, 50 on the back, or thereabouts. And so using the rear brake actually makes a lot more sense because there's more weight on it, so it provides more stopping power. But this is incredible. I'm only really using the rear. The front, of course, is still important, so don't not use the front, but you can get away with, oh, I hate trucks. You can get away with lightly using the rear until you come to a stop. And the gears, of course. It's really flickable too. I mean, I'm in suburbia at the moment, so I can't really give a good demonstration of it, but if your mates are on anything below a 600 Super Sport, you'll be 100% fine. I mean, even of course, if they're on 400cc inline fours like the CB400 or the FZR 400, I think it is, anything like that, they will walk away on the straights just because that's what they're designed to do. But in the corners, this will 100% keep up. This is a fantastic learner bike. I'm really impressed with it, actually. It's a really nice way to get introduced to Harley. I just wish it was louder. However, there is one pretty nasty issue with the bike, and I don't know if it's a universal thing. I had a quick Google search of it the other day. I've seen a few, but it seems to be this model and a few others, so I'm not too sure, but at least with this particular one, this right here is a security fob, and it's basically like a proximity sensor. So when you plug the key in and turn it on, go bro, plug the key in and turn it on, it'll check if the proximity sensor is around, and if it is, it'll start fine, and if it's not, it'll prompt you to put a pin in. You get one shot at the pin, and if you mess it up, the alarm will go off for 30 seconds, and it's a pretty bloody loud alarm. It's like a car alarm, so if you've ever had that go off, you know what I mean. That doesn't work And it's really annoying because sometimes, well, the first maybe 3 times I used it, it worked fine. Now it's just, I have to crack it open, look at it, and there's nothing visibly wrong with it. All the connections in there are fine. The battery is, according to Harley Davidson, brand new. And I put it back together and it works. And then it works once and then it'll break again and not be detected. So that's really annoying, having to put in a 5-digit pin using one button every time you want to go for a ride is a massive hassle. And if you get it wrong, the alarm goes off, and you can't do it when you're sitting on it, or the alarm will go off, as I found out earlier today. All they need to do really is put a button on it, so you plop it, and if it doesn't work, you know. Like, I have no idea if this doesn't work because there's no indication to tell me otherwise. It's just a piece of plastic with a Harley Davidson logo on it and a battery inside that doesn't work. Is there anything else? I don't really think there's much else to say in terms of bad things, which is fantastic. The mirrors are fine. You do get a lovely feeling of imperiousness. I'm pretty sure that's a word when you're riding these, because everyone knows the typical Harley rider, you know, a massive dude with a big beard and no helmet and a leather vest or something like that. Everyone knows that guy. And you feel like that guy on one of these. You feel invulnerable. It's amazing. When you're on a sports bike, you know, you're hunched over like this and you tuck into corners like that and you're really getting into it. With this, you sit back and you relax and you just let the bike do all the work. You just let it take you along. You don't need to work for it. You just ride it, which is exactly what Harley want you to do. Right now, I'm going to go to Harley Davidson, ask them about that, and just see what they say, because I'm totally prepared to accept that it's just this is faulty, and they'll fix it for me right then and there. And Harley Davidson are very good in that sense. Getting this bike to review has been a bit of a mare, because Harley Davidson New Zealand are managed in Australia, and the people I was talking to over there didn't communicate well enough with the people here, and so the bike wasn't here when it was meant to be, and then it had to get shipped over, and then it was late, and a big faff. Great big mess, really. But I've got it, and it's alright, except for that. On all the other bikes I've ridden, sitting at 2300 RPM would be painful. You'd be clutching in all the time and just really wearing it out, trying to keep the rears up. I mean, you know, if you're smart, you just drop down a gear and sit a bit higher, but this is fine. I'm drop it down to 23 and just power out with the torque. Apparently it makes its max torque at about there, between 25 and 3000 RPM, which I believe. Where the hell am I? I can't wait to try the bigger ones, because if it's more of this, I totally understand it all. I've always been a sports bike guy. I've always enjoyed that sort of, you know, high revving, high speed life, but I could get into this. I could really get into this. Oh bollocks, where do I go? I think it's this way. Oh god, it's so not this way. Oh well. Well, maybe it is. Maybe I've just bloody gone and done it. Penrose Road feels like where I need to go, but there's the motorway, and I know it's close to the motorway. Oh. The gearbox is very nice too. It's very slick. It's not... I do need to go that way. Bollocks! It's not quite Japanese good. There's still a lot of movement up and down with the shifter, but that's okay. Could be worse. Okay, now I'm pretty sure I'm just heading further into suburbia, so let's just do a turn. And I like that they put in the revs and the gears. It's just a nice feature. They didn't have to do it. I know Triumph don't do it, at least not. The last Triumph I rode that was similar to this was the Street Twin last year, and it didn't have that. It didn't have anything like that. You just kind of guessed. I mean, with these bikes, you don't really need big revs. but it's still nice to see. So what could Harley improve on, or what should you look out for as a potential buyer of one of these? Well, you could outgrow it. It's not very fast. It might get a little bit old. You have to really go for it if you wanted to get above sort of 100k. Like, if, for instance, if you're passing someone, it feels very strained. It's quite heavy, not other Harley Davidson level heavy. Like, it's not going to crush you, forcing you, but it's not going to take a... Oh, I think I need to go this way. Be a bit cheeky. I think it's this way. I think I've done it. Oh, I haven't. Oh, shit. I'm going to have to bloody turn off and look at a map. The security system needs work. Because this is a brand new bike. It came over from Australia, I believe, with 20 kilometers on the clock, and I put a fair few kilometers on it, and it shouldn't be doing this. It really shouldn't. I do like this little pinstriping though. It's very nice, but this is really quite good. Actually, I'm very happy with it. Well done, Harley.